Well, hello, friends, neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here, and hey, welcome down to the Whiskey Nook. It's Family Day weekend in Alberta, so I've got a little bit of time, and it's Sunday, so let's talk some samples. Today, I'm going to talk about Crown Royal 16-year-old rye, part of the Noble Collection, and Michter's Toasted Barrel Proof rye. So a couple of ryes queued up, but I bet you're all looking at these. Aren't these amazing? These are hand-turned wooden Glencairns. Dave, long-term viewer, friend on the channel, wanted to send me some samples and then shared that he does some work in hardwoods making hand-turned Glencairns. And so Dave sent me some whiskey samples. This one is from Dave. And then he sent, well, in the same package, he sent some of these beauties. Isn't that amazing? Hey, if you want to check him out, he's on Happy Pigeon Wood Turning on Facebook. And as I said, Dave, I've poured whiskey in here as it should be. I poured a little bit of Pikesville. I thought that might be a nice rye to kind of warm up my palate before I hit these samples. But I would like to toast you and your generosity. For everyone else, please come back. Join me for a couple of thoughts on samples. I've got this from Dave and this from Paul, another kind and generous gentleman. Wow, I'm quite blessed. Cheers, guys. See you after the break.
3, 4.
Thanks for staying with me. As I said in the opener, we're going to talk Crown Royal 16-year rye and Michter's Toasted Barrel Proof rye. Dave and Paul. Thank you, guys. You're gentlemen. And I had a little warm-up ground here onto this beautiful wood turn from Pikesville. But let's talk these samples. Better clear my palate. Okay, so first up, I thought we would talk about this Crown Royal. You know, I haven't had this from their Noble Collection. In fact, I haven't seen it around here, and I wondered, is this a US-only release? And I should have done more research. But, you know, I mean, Crown Royal, massive distillery in Manitoba, Gimli, Manitoba, put away a ton of liquid. And they're quite famous for actually a lot of different grains and blends going into their blends. What I understand from this is more, you know, you might call it a flavoring whiskey, right? When you're making a blend, you make some that, you know, boost the alcohol and doesn't taste bad. And then you have some that really brings flavor. My understanding is this is one of their rye distillates that they distill just for that, for adding flavor to the blends. And yet they've aged it in a mix of casks. I couldn't find the specific, but a mix of casks. Certainly it's all American oak, but whether it's first or second fill ex bourbon, that kind of thing, I don't know. And this is Crown Royal 16-year rye. Thoughts on the nose and taste? Please pour something and join along. Oh, this is quite sweet on the nose. Wow, I wasn't expecting I don't mean sugar sweetness. I mean more like a rich candy sweetness. A little caramel, but right away a little edges of fruit. Some dried fruit I'm thinking right now. I can't quite put my finger on it, but nicely fruity, sweet, and a little bit of spice. Great nose. See how it tastes. Cheers. That is a very expressive palate. I'm already into the finish, but at first I didn't get a lot of that rye spicing, but it's all in the relaxing finish. Lots of spices there. At first, I really got that almost a juicy fruit, caramel, toffee, but not crazy Canadian whiskey sweet. I know that's a common comment I make, but it's not overpoweringly sweet. The sweetness is really a mix. Oh, and there's a little bit of a herbal note there, a little bit of grass. Better take another quick sip. That is a really delightful rye. Well structured. There's some oak, definite spice now, more baking, cinnamon, nutmeg. A little bit of herbal, but it's not a grassy rye. In fact, instead, when you think you're going to get grassy, then there's a really balance of a really overripe cherry, some candy crack, like a red candy apple. I like that. That is very tasty. Okay, now I'm going to try the Michter's toasted. Paul was such a nice guy. He gave me a whole bag full of samples too. And I was very looking forward to this because I generally like Michter's bourbon and rye, both. So this is their toasted barrel. So what I know about this is it's their regular rye, and then they put it back into a reconstructed barrel that's been air dried or air cured for 24 months, and toasted to their specifications. I don't know what that is, and aged some time in that. Then it's released at barrel strength. This one is 53.6 or 107 proof, something like that. Let's see what it gives us. So in contrast, it's already a spicier nose. Yeah, this is a little more typical rye, kind of a spicy cinnamon, and then a light toffee. In contrast, this has significant more fruit on it. Let's try the Michter's. Hopefully you got some kind of rye poured. This is like rye sample day. Cheers. Very interesting. Little peppery, gingery. Lots of ginger for me. Slight lemon, lots of ginger. It's a wow. It's a gingerbread cookie for me. That's where my palate's going right away. Drying, which I like in rye, very drying. So much so that I feel like I'm struggling swallowing a little bit. Sorry for those noises. Very different. Quite good. Yeah, not much has evolved in the nose. Maybe a little more lemon. Interesting. I need to spend more time on that. Try it with a little bit of water. Thankfully, Paul gave me a big enough sample that I can come back to it. But right now, very drying. Lots of gingerbread, ginger snap cookie type flavors for me. And spicing. Coming back to the Crown Royal. This is their 16-year-old. Significantly more juicy fruit going on in there. Different. Actually, significantly different. Really, if you're looking for, I like these both. These are easily 4-star, if not better, ryes. These are great. But if you're looking for a little more juicy fruit, a little more of that type expression, and you want the spice to come up just on the edges of your tongue and whatnot, this Crown Royal is more what you're looking for. If you really like that drying, spice forward and not nearly as much fruit, this is definitely dry oak, dry wood, a lot of that going on. I like it, but I would turn to them for different reasons. Boy, thanks so much for finding some time to join me here on Family Day weekend. And thank you to Paul for all the samples and for this. I finally got to it. And for Dave, first of your samples. And again, boy, what a treat. And as I said, it just feels solid and really good in the hand. Thank you for that. Thank you for all of you for tuning in. Hope you have a fantastic week. Cheers.